So Jerry, you're up first.
For A,
Yep, what's A?
I got 1.
Okay, what about for B?
For B, I got 4.
Is that what everyone else got? 4? Yeah,
Yes.
okay, next one.
And then C and D, I struggled. For the base log 10 and the 0.1, I got -1. I didn't know what to do with the 20 though. I didn't know if you were supposed to.
Still a multiplication. This is a multiplication here. So multiply them.
-20.
Yep, okay. And then D,
Is it -2?
we have 1 plus a -3, right? So -2.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any questions on that from anybody?
Which is for number B, please?
B was 4 and D was -2.
B is 4.
It should be 10 to the 4th, yeah. 10 to the 4th equals
What's
10,000.
10 of 2 then? To it's log 1 over 100, right?
No, it's just log 10,000 is B. The question is log 10,000. So it should be 4 because 10 to the 4th equals 10,000.
Okay, because me, I have it here log 1 over 100. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next up is Alondra for number 9.
I don't know if I did it right, or I just did I did it like more harder than I was supposed to. But I did, it's 9B, right?
Yep.
So I did, I ended up doing like 100 times 5, like log, and then 100 times 5.
Log, oh, you wrote it like log 100 times 5 like this?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I separated those two, so it's log 100 plus log 5.
Okay.
And then I did a log 10 squared plus log 5.
Log 10 squared. Okay, so then you made it a 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then what did you do?
That's it.
Okay. Did anyone else do anything differently? Every single person did it this exact same way?
Yes.
That's exactly how I did it.
I got the wrong answer, so what I did was wrong.
So everyone else did it this way. I think the directions say something different though. The directions say determine mentally an integer n so that the logarithm is between n and n plus 1. Check your results with the calculator. So what does that mean? What is it? What are those directions telling us to do?
I'm not sure, but if I had to guess, would I have to put something in parentheses? Because I was looking at integer, but when I say integer, right? I was looking at the notation. Never mind, I don't know.
Integer is just like a whole number. So determine mentally a number, right? So that the logarithm is between that number and the number plus 1.
I just found an integer that was underneath it, that if I added 1 to it, it would make the whole thing above
Okay.
500.
So what was
the integer I got was 2.
okay?
Because 10 to the second is 100, and then
So this
if
is
I add 1 to that,
log to the 100. Okay.
And if I add 1 to that and made the integer 3, it would give me 1,000. And 500 is in between 100 and 1,000.
Okay, cool. So that's following the directions. Now, what Alondra did is mathematically fine. Like, it's not answering the question though. Like, what she did is mathematically fine. That's good that you were using those properties and things, but it didn't answer the question. The question wanted to know what 2 integers is this log between, basically. So basically, this log is between 2 and 3, right? The log has to be between 2 and 3. So if we put it in our calculator, it says we can check your answer with a calculator. So if we put log 500 in our calculator, we should get 2 point something, which is between 2 and 3. Any questions on that one?
That makes sense how you explain it, because when I tried to put it in the calculator, I ended up getting 2.699. What I rounded it up to 2.699. And I was like, but I felt like I was doing something wrong, but how you just explained it, that helps.
Okay, good. Yeah, the idea is that if we didn't have a calculator, we could at least say, hey, I know the answer is between 2 and 3. It's 2 point something, right? That's the idea of that problem.
How would you write this out? Like the answer?
Oh, I wrote it right here.
Okay.
Log 500 is between 2 and 3. Yeah. All right.
How we can solve this manually, teacher?
I'm sorry.
How we can solve the log 500 manually without using a calculator?
Well, we wouldn't be able to solve it exactly. We would just be able to say it's between 2 and 3 using kind of the mental math that Joshua did. So he said if it equals 2, it was log 100. So that's less than log 500. And if it's a 3, then it's more than log 500. So that means log 500 must be like 2 point something. It must be between 2 and 3.
Thank you.
All right, number 13, Kayla, you're up next for room 1.
I was confused on this question. I didn't end up getting it.
Okay, from your notes, what was the domain of a regular log? Because then we can talk about how it's changing. So what's the domain of just regular log x from your notes? Oh, Kayla's gone. Okay, all right, let's see, Brian. What's the domain of a regular log?
But for I didn't get 13.
Okay, but like, don't answer all of 13 yet. Just tell me from your notes, what was the domain of a regular log?
I don't know.
Well, from the notes, we should have something about like, there might be a graph that you could look at from your notes. Or we might have written what the domain was in the notes. Anybody from their notes?
Yes,
Is
I
it
think it's 0
0
plus infinity.
fin?
Yeah, 0 to infinity. Yep. So the regular domain, can it be 0, by the way? Is it a square bracket or a parenthesis?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. So the regular domain of log is 0 to infinity, right? The inside has to be greater than 0. So remember when we did radicals and fractions, how we had those rules? Now we have rules for logs. So the rule is the inside, oops, that is not an N. The inside must be greater than 0. And that comes from our domain, from our parent function domain. So now let's look at this problem. Let's look at the inside. The inside is x plus 3. X plus 3 must be greater than 0. So that means x must be greater than -3. So knowing that, can anyone tell me what the domain is?
Is it bracket 3 infinity?
Bracket or parenthesis?
Parentheses.
Yeah, parenthesis. Parenthesis -3 infinity. Like that. That's how we get our domain.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So I understand how you got the -3. And for infinity, if I'm not mistaken, you got that because when we graph it, the line goes on and on.
Yep.
Correct? Okay. Because I was like,
Yeah. When we graph the parent function, it looks like that. So it goes to the right forever, right? This is where positive infinity is. So it keeps going to the right forever. All right. Any other questions on that domain problem? No? Everyone's good? So you're going to ace it if it's on the test?
The -3, we got -3 because you moved the 3 over where the 0 is at, right?
I subtracted 3 on both sides.
Okay.
All right. Well, no one has any more
Excuse me,
questions?
teacher, here
Oh,
is going
go
to
ahead.
be parentheses -3 until plus infinity, right?
Comma infinity. Yeah.
Yeah, comma infinity. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so I will clear that out then. And let's look at the next ones we're going to do. Okay, 21 is this table you're gonna have to fill in, and that's very similar to your written homework. You're gonna have a table you have to fill in. And then we go into using some of the properties from the video. So 31 uses a property from the video. 47, huh? 47 uses, and we might go through and do more of these if we have time. Hopefully we will, because honestly, if I were you, I would just do all of them, or at least the ones you can check your answers in the back, maybe like the odds or something, because the more practice you do, the more likely you are to remember. I work with a lot of high school students, and when we do logs, I make them do like 100 problems, and then they ace it on the test, but I make them do like almost 100 problems. It's a lot. But they really ace it once they get to the test because they remember it. All right, so I just typed in chat what you're going to work on. I will send you back to groups.
Bless you.
Everybody else?
I didn't understand the last 3.
Okay. Kathleen, Vanessa, Brian, Fidel.
I got a little stuck,
I got all of them.
but I think I figured it out.
Okay. All right. So we got a mix of all of them and then the end ones. Okay. If you finished early, like I said, you should be going through and practicing these. I think the odds are in the back of the book. You should be practicing. Okay. All right. So we are at Joshua for that first one. Wait, did I already make you go, Joshua?
I don't think so. Which
No?
one was it?
Number 21.
So for the first one, that where x was 2 to the power 0, I got 0.
Okay.
And then for the, sorry, it's really small.
I know. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Looks like it's a -8 exponent.
Yeah. So for that one, I got -8. And then for the 2 to the power of 1.26, I got 1.26.
Okay. All right, cool. Everyone else get that as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a handy little property. When the base matches what's inside the log, then they kind of cancel out, so to speak. So if you want to know how it works exactly, that 0 comes out to the front using that power exponent rule. So it's really like this, and this whole piece is a 1. So you get 0 times 1, which is just 0. And the same thing for the -8. -8 times 1, 1.26 times 1, same thing. So that's kind of how that works if you want to know the background of it. But a lot of students just memorize it as they cancel out, which isn't mathematically perfect, but it's okay. That's how they memorize it. All right, cool. Let's see who's up next. Fidel, you are next. We're on number 31.
Okay, so for this one, I did pi times log of 5, then parentheses 5.
Mhm.
So then after that, I took pi times 1,
Uh-huh.
and then that just gave me pi.
Yep, exactly. Perfect. All right, next one. We are at Ganya for number 47.
This one, I think it is 9. 32. You said I did 30. No, I didn't. Just I'm not. I didn't do 37. Sorry.
Okay. 1 over A, is there a way for me to change that to just a regular A? With
A
some
minus 1. It's going to be minus 1.
A to the -1 power, right?
Yeah,
So then that's just -1. Yeah, there you go.
because okay, didn't. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you.
And like I said, there's a lot of other problems here y'all could be practicing. So go through and do those if you're needing to practice. Next is Vanessa for 51.
Apologize. I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Kind of could go back to like 31. I see how you did that, but if I'm not mistaken, can I just cross out like log in the 5, the small 5 and the big 5, and then leave me with pi?
That's what I was saying earlier. A lot of students just memorize like it cancels, and that's okay if you want to memorize that, but mathematically I'm showing you what it's actually doing.
Okay, so okay, then with that being said, then for 47, how did you get -1? Because I'm like, yeah, how did you get -1? Because I had got 1, but I want to know like why did it make it negative?
Because 1 over A is A to the -1.
Oh, okay, got you. Because
There's those exponent things from what we talked about weeks and weeks back.
Okay, got you.
Uh-huh. All right, so we were at Vanessa for 51.
I was confused on how to start this one.
Okay, well, let's use the same strategy we used for 47. Can we turn the 1 over 16? Can we change this to being a 2 to the something? Is there any way we could do that? Because then it would just be nice like 47 and kind of cancel all out.
Would you divide it to get it?
Can't really divide it. Look at what we did on this one. How did we take it from a fraction to a non-fraction? What happened between this piece and this piece?
Is it multiplied?
We changed the exponent, right?
Oh, okay.
To a negative exponent. Negative exponents flip it. So if I want to think about it that way, I know that I could make that a negative on this side. And it's going to be a negative something because I need to flip it, right? And
So would
then,
it be a -1 on top?
so is 2 to the -1 the same thing as 1 over 16? Let's try it. 2 to the -1 is 1 over 2. So not quite. We're going to need a more power. Maybe like squared or cubed or something. 2 to the what is 16?
To the 4th?
To the 4th, right? So if we make that 2 to the -4, then that means we could make it 1/2 to the 4th, which is 1/16, right? Do you see how those are equivalent?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to rewrite my problem. I'm going to go back over here and rewrite it as 2 to the -4, like that. Again, these take a lot of practice. So now what is the answer going to be?
Would it be the -4?
Yep, just -4. Any questions on that one? If you struggled with that one, go back and do like 45, 43. Go back and do some of these other problems that have the fractions and have different bases. You gotta practice, practice, practice. Okay, any questions on that one?
Yes, for 50, please. It's not about this one. It's just.
Oh, 50? Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
please.
50 is not, I'm not one of them, but we can talk about it. So 50, you can rewrite it as ln e to the half, right? Because a square root is rewritten as a half.
Then it's just 1/2.
Yep, then it's just half. Mhm.
Because when I was looked for the IN, I said maybe something else.
Yeah, it'll just be a half. ln, it has a base of e automatically, just like log without a base has a base of 10.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So, like going back talking about 50, LN, LN, we only use that when we, with square roots.
The square root is the same thing as a half power.
I'm talking about LN, like, I understand log, but why you use the LN?
Oh, ln is just another form of log. It's just with a base e.
Okay,
We
so
call it a natural log is actually the name of it. We use it a lot in applied math. A lot of like real stuff. We use ln. Natural log. All right, any other questions on that one before we move on? Okay, all right, some more of these up here. Oops, comma. Oh, we're almost done. Do we have time? I hope we get to do more practice because this is honestly, as someone who's worked with people doing logs for years, this is not enough practice. So I really, really, really hope y'all do more practice. This is nowhere near enough practice for logs.
I think there's an extra little assignment in there, even that's just like log practice and not in their homework worksheets.
Yeah, there might be. If not, go to quizzes. I told you all about quizzes or con. Gotta get more practice. All right. Okay, I'll be right back. I just heard something fall.
going back to like 53.
Okay. Anybody else?
Half. I did half.
No? Okay. All right. Well, we'll just dive in. Ashley, you said you did 53 or you didn't do 53?
I didn't do 53. I'm doing that one now, but I'm not gonna say if I had to take a guess. I could kind of point you like what I'm sitting right here thinking of.
Okay, because you're in room 3, so you're next if you want to try it.
Or like I know 31 for sure. I did 31. It's like
We could try 53. We're trying to find the 2 integers it's between, like we did on that other problem. So maybe we could think of powers of 3. So like 3 to the 0 is 1. 3 to the 1 is 3. 3 squared is
9.
9. Okay, 3 to the 3rd is.
So,
I think that one's 27. I know it's getting harder to calculate.
Right.
3 to the 4th.
Yes. I'm gonna just double check right here.
I think it's 81.
Yes, ma'am. 81.
Okay, so are we getting anything where it'll help us figure out where log 335 is kind of around?
In between 3 to the 3rd and 3 to the 4th, right?
So in between 3 and 4, right?
Yes, ma'am.
There we go.
Okay, because I'm like, okay. So I was thinking that because I was looking at the other one, but like for my answer, I picked 3. What's that, less than?
Mhm.
And I picked log, but I didn't pick the 3 at the bottom. I just picked 35.
Oh, gotta have that 3 at the bottom because that tells us the base.
Okay, so yeah, that's why I was like, yeah.
So if you type it in your calculator, you should get 3 point something because it should be between 3 and 4.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's what I did the other time. I just put it in my calculator, and I thought that number that was in my calculator was the answer, but I just didn't set it up like that.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that one before we look at 109?
You need a really easy trick to get to the fourth power.
9 times 9.
Yeah, you square the square.
Yeah, because remember, 3 to the 4th is like 4 3s, right? So if you do these two first and then these two, you get 9 times 9 is 81. Yeah, because multiplication you could do in any order. It's all multiplying.
But it still need to have the same base, right?
What do you mean? When you multiply, you need the same base?
Yeah, for example, here the base is like for the first one, for the 53a, is log 3 of 9. It's just like log 3 of 3 power 2, and it's going to be 2, right?
That one actually is log base 2. Number 53a is log base 2 of 9.
It's okay. I think it's 3. Sorry.
It's okay. So yeah, then you would look at 2 to the what gets you below 9 and above 9.
Yeah, it's 2 of 4.
Mhm.
No, of 3.
3, yeah. So it'd be between 3 and 4 again for that one also, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. 109. Who's up next? Carson, you're up next.
So this is actually one of the ones that I got stuck on. I plugged it in for E, like my X coordinates, but I'm assuming that's not what I was supposed to do because I kept getting crazy numbers.
Well, E is already here. This is already graphed. So that's already there. We're trying to graph the inverse. So if you look at the directions, it wants us to graph the inverse. So on our last test, how do we graph inverses? What did we do in the last unit?
Personally, I just look at the points on the graph and then swap them.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. So pick some points and let's swap them.
So we have 0, 1. That would be
1, 0. Okay.
1 and 3 would be 3, 1.
Okay.
And for 2, it's kind of hard to tell. I would say like 6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah, we could do like a decimal. We could do -1. That's like -1 and then like a half maybe. So then it'd be half like -1. So right in there. So it gives us enough points to at least see the curve. So it's like that.
Wait, what's the third point? -1.
1/2. I mean, it's probably like 0.4, but 1/2 is close enough. And remember, whenever we do inverses, it's always reflecting over that line, y equals x. Yeah, that's what it reflects over. So you should think if I fold my paper diagonally like that, are they going to match?
Yeah, it's actually 2, 0 because y is 2, 0.
I have a question about this one. I had got like I understood that I needed to flip it, but I didn't really point like dot my exact points. Is that okay, or like do I need to do that?
I mean, if it's a test, you better put some points, because if it's not clear and I can't tell, I can't give you credit, right? So it's better to actually pick a few points and actually show that you know what you're doing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It also says to give it symbolically. So I know on the test, some of y'all forgot to write this symbol. This is the inverse. So you lost a point for that. What would the inverse be? What is the equation of that inverse?
-1 of x.
A what of x?
F -1 of x.
Oh, that's the inverse. Yeah, but what is the actual equation? Because the actual equation for the blue.
It's like, okay, the x equals to y.
Well, we could do that and we could solve it. Does anyone already kind of know what it is? What's the inverse of e to the x? Does anyone know?
E to the -x.
No.
Or negative e.
Minus f of x.
Okay, maybe we should solve it. So y equals e to the x. So let's switch our x and y to find the inverse like we did on our last test. And then we need to get the y alone. Any idea how to get that y alone?
1 over x.
Any guess? I don't know if we've learned the properties for it yet or not.
Let me see. Can you tell me the original equation, please?
The original was y equals e to the x, and then we switched the x and y to try to find the inverse. So what you would do if it wasn't in the video is you would
X
take
over E. X over E.
you would take the ln of both sides.
Yes.
Okay. And what is that right side? We did this earlier. ln of e to the y. What does that simplify to?
Just y.
Just y. Yep. So then we're done. So f inverse of x is ln of x. So that's the inverse. So e to the x, the inverse is ln of x. They're inverses of each other. Did y'all do that? Take the ln of both sides in the video at all? Was there anything like
Yeah,
that?
we did one.
Oh, okay.
Which
There you
number
go.
was that?
The video.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Not on both sides. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think you're talking about number 8 on the notes. But
yeah,
that's-
I mean, but it's similar. In the video, he did say that ln could cancel out the e, like they're the same thing. Because for 6, 5, and 7, they were talking about what like on number 5 it says ln e could cancel out the e with the square root of 5. So we did 2.
Okay, good.
That's how I knew that it was that's how I knew that the ln and the e could cancel out. That's how I knew that the answer was just y at the end of it. Because in the video, professor said that.
Okay. All right, cool. So that's how you get the inverse symbolically, which was part of the question. So we had to answer that too. All right, so let's move down to 131. Now, I know on the test and the last test, like 2 tests, at least the last 2 tests, there's been a lot of people who are struggling with where to put the number on word problems. Sometimes you put it in the x and it's not the x, and sometimes you put it in the d of x and it's not the d of x. So let's take a second here and we read this one and figure out where does this go? I mean, I know it says, I guess this one says x, so maybe that's not as helpful. But when you do these, you really got to read where these go, because a lot of people are putting them in the wrong spot still. Like even on the test that was graded just happened Monday, there were still people putting it in the wrong spot, the substitution. So be careful when you're reading these, because you lose like all the points when you do that, because we have no way of seeing if you were able to solve it when you're putting it in the wrong section, wrong substitution. All right, we are at Jade. Do you have 131? Jade's not here. Okay, Kathleen, do you have 131?
I did not get this far.
Okay. Let's see, you can go to the next person then. Jerry, did you get 131? Back up to group 1?
No.
Joshua, you're next. Did you get 131?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to tell us what you did?
Yeah. So I ended up writing it out as 10 log parentheses 10 to the 16th times 10 to the power of -4.
Okay.
I subtracted the 10 to the 16th and 10 to the -4 to get 10 to the 12th.
Okay.
And then the log 10 to the 12th gave me 12, so I ended up with 10 times 12.
Okay. Which we did in the very first problem earlier.
And that gave me 120 decibels.
120 decibels. Yep. Cool. All right. Now, if it didn't tell you x equals, which is like a dead giveaway, then you really, on your test, you really got to pay attention to what it says each thing is. So in this case, the decibels is this part. And then the intensity, x is the intensity. So that's the x. So if they didn't tell you x here, let's pretend that like that x isn't there. And they just said when the intensity reaches 10 to the negative fourth, you should know, going back and looking at it, that X was intensity. So you need to put the 10 to the negative fourth in the intensity. So please read those carefully, because I do notice at least the last 2 or 3 tests, people are still losing points on those. So please pay attention to like which letter, which variable is what thing in the problem. All right, so I think we still have 137 left. We only have 1 minute. Anyone want to start 137? Anyone want to volunteer to help start it in this last minute here? Or maybe we haven't even read it yet.
Do 6 equals log x over 1, the first part. It's for
Log X
Yugoslavia.
over 1. Okay. So we got to solve that, right?
Yeah.
So that is 6 equals log x of 1. I mean log x. So how would we solve it? What's x?
So I got that the integer was 6. So I ended up doing 10 to the power of 6.
There you go. Okay. Because remember we did that earlier. We talked about when there's no base here, that's a 10. So this is equivalent to saying 10 to the 6 equals x, using that property we did on the very first problems today. So that means it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. 1 million something. Is there a unit for this? No, there's no unit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the intensity. Okay. All right, so y'all will have to finish B on your own since we are 1 minute over. Okay. All right, practice, 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 please. Do quizzes or con or textbook work or something. Practice all this properties.
There's
And
no office hours today, right?
no, I'm here after if you have a question.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll see y'all tomorrow.
I'll be back.
Okay.